So in this section we will see what are different inversions of four-bar chain. So we already covered in the previous classes what is kinematic chain and what are different types of kinematic chain. So we have three types of kinematic chains we covered: four-bar chain, then single-sided crank chain and double-sided crank chain. So then we have covered inversions. So we studied that inversions are formed by fixing different links of a kinematic chain. We can obtain different inversions. So that is how we will obtain different inversions. Now in this section we will see what are different inversions of first type of kinematic chain, that is four-bar chain. So four-bar chain, the inversions are: first one beam engine, then coupled locomotive wheels, Watt's indicator mechanism, pantograph and Ackermann steering gear. These are some of the inversions of four-bar chain. So let us see one by one. First one is beam engine or crank and lever mechanism. Here you can see it's a four-bar chain. It consists of a crank. I will show you the crank. So the crank is, this particular member is the crank, which is a rotating member. Then this one is the connecting rod, which connects the crank with the output link. The output link is the piston here. This is the piston. And we have the green colored link, that is this green entire frame. The green color is the frame, that is the fixer link. So we have four links. So this is a four-bar chain. So what happens here? We will rotate, the crank will rotate. This is the crank will rotate. The rotary motion of the crank is given to the connecting rod. This is the connecting rod. The connecting rod will transfer the rotary motion of the crank to the piston. So what happens? The rotary motion of the crank is converted to the reciprocating motion of the piston with the help of this crank and the fixed link, which is colored as green here. So this is a beam engine which is used to convert rotary motion into reciprocating motion and vice versa. So also it is called crank and lever mechanism. So that is the first one. We will see the another figure, two-dimensional figure of this one. This is the detailed figure. You have to draw this figure in the examination. So this is the crank, which is the rotary member. So this is the crank, which is the rotary member. This is the connecting rod, which connects the rotary member to the piston. Now we have the piston, which is the fourth link, and this will form the connecting rod. So what happens? And this is the fixed link. The frame is the fixed link. So what happens? The rotary motion is converted to reciprocating motion. That is first inversion of four-bar chain, that is beam engine or crank and lever mechanism. The second one is coupling rod of a locomotive. So this is usually done to obtain rotary motions. Two links will completely rotate. So this is usually seen in locomotives. So we will study that coupling rod of a locomotive with the help of this figure. So this is coupling rod of a locomotive. You can see we have four links. Link number one, which is the rotating member. The rotation of the link number one is along the circular path. Then we have the link number 3, that is the another rotating member, which is the rotation is along the circular path. And we have a fixed link, which is named as 4 here, and we have the connecting rod, which is named as 2 here. So what happens here? These link 1 and link 3 will rotate like this. The 1 and 3 is connected with the help of connecting rod or link number 2, and one link is fixed, which is link number 4. So that is two members will rotate. That is coupling rod of a locomotive. These are used in locomotives. That is the second inversion of four-bar chain. And coming to the third one, that is Watt's indicator mechanism. This is actually an indicator mechanism which is used to indicate some levels of or fluids or oil or something like that. So that is actually used as an indication mechanism. So it is also a four-bar mechanism. You can see consider it as a four-bar mechanism. So here you can see the Watt's indicator mechanism. We have the link number 1, that is a fixed link. Then we have the link number 2, that is BC. BC is the link number 2. Then we have the link number 3, that is this CD is the link number 3. And we have the link number 4, that is DE. DF is the link number 4. So we have 4 links and one link is fixed. So that is here also one fixed cylinder is also fixed, but all the fixed link we will consider as one, that we mentioned in the first class. So we have the 4 links. So how will it move? So you can see this This is the indicator cylinder. This cylinder may contain some fluid or some pressure. If we want to know the value of that pressure or the fluid level, that is transferred with the help of this mechanism to an indicator scale, and from that scale we can obtain the level of fluid or value of pressure, whatever maybe we can obtain or we can understand. So that is Watt's indicator mechanism. So let us see it more. So the initial position of the Watt's indicator mechanism is shown by the blue lines. So you can see the blue lines. This is the blue lines. So these blue lines indicate the initial position of the mechanism. So when the some pressure acts on the plunger of the cylinder or piston like this, you can see the arrow. What will happen? This piston will be pulled upwards. So due to that, what will happen? The position of this mechanism or Watt indicator mechanism will change, and the change position is shown by the dotted red lines. So you can see the change position. So here when this position at the change position, initial position of the link 3, that is DE, you can see this is the initial position of the link 3, and the final position of the link 3 is shown by D dash E dash or D E dash. That is, when the pressure acts on the plunger, what will happen? The link DE will oscillate along this path, along the path E dash. So depending upon the position of the endpoint E, we can calibrate the value of the pressure or the level of fluid, whatever may be. So that is, this E dash or the link DE will move over the path E dash, and that is an indication of what the pressure acting on the plunger. So that is Watt's indicator mechanism. So it's a double lever mechanism. So then it is having two levers. So this one is D is one lever and this one is the second lever. So this also got a double lever mechanism. That is the third inversion of 4-bar chain. Then let us see the next one. Next one is pantograph. So it is also another mechanism. Here also the output element is P, and you can see the P element will move over the path P dash, and the location of the point P will indicate some value, either pressure or fluid level or whatever may be. That is, the output we will obtain from the location of the point P. P will move over the curve P dash. So in order to obtain this motion of the P dash, P dash will use the mechanism pantograph. So let us see. So it is also having 4 linkages. First one is link AD, which is a fixed link. Then we have the link AB, which is the input link. Then we have the link BC, which is the connecting rod, and then we have the link CD, which is the output link. And at the end C, there is a lever attached. That lever is end of the lever is the point P. That point P will move over the path P dash, and that is an indication of whatever value which is to be measured. So the initial position of the mechanism pantograph is shown by the rigid lines, or A, B, C, D will show the initial position, and the initial position of the point P is here. So when the pantograph operates, the final position of the pantograph is shown by the dotted lines. You can see the dotted lines. So from the dotted line you can see that the point B has been moved to B dash, point C has been moved to C dash, and the point P has been moved to P dash. So these are the extreme positions of B, C and P respectively. So depending upon the position of the point B and point C, the link point P will position of point P will change. So that is the pantograph. So it is also used as an indication mechanism. To depending upon the position of the point P, we can calibrate or we can measure different values. That is a fourth inversion of 4-bar chain. So these are some of the inversions of 4-bar chain. So next class we will study the inversions of slider crank chain or single slider crank chain. So thank you for watching.